Okay, just stop what you're doing for a second. Look at the calendar. It's January 24th, 2026.
Mm-hmm.
If you're listening to this in the Midwest, or really anywhere in the Northern Hemisphere,
Yeah.
it is probably gray. It is probably cold.
Oh, yeah. It is the absolute depths of the winter doldrums, the time of year we all collectively forget what vitamin D feels like.
Exactly. But here's where it gets really interesting, and why we're doing this today. There's this misconception that a perfect summer just happens.
Right.
Like you wake up on a Saturday in July, and the world just magically aligns for you.
Mm.
But the architecture of a perfect summer, that's not built in July. It's built right now.
You're talking about the planning fallacy. We always assume we'll have more time, more energy in the future than we actually do. But unless you put the framework in place now, summer usually ends up being a series of, what should we do today conversations until it's suddenly September.
Right. The what do you want to do?
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you want to do?
Yeah.
Loop of doom. Today, we are breaking that loop. We are doing a deep dive into a very specific, highly optimized slice of the 2026 season. We're looking at the upcoming launch of the Motor City Paddle Club at Brandenburg Park.
And we're not just looking at it as a fun thing to do. We're analyzing it as a system. We've got the facility specs from Chesterfield Township. We have the 2026 operational data. And we are going to unpack how this specific combination of location, activity, and, this is key to astronomy, solves the biggest problem in modern leisure.
Which is?
Friction. The harder it is to have fun, the less likely you are to actually do it.
Friction is the enemy. I love that. So, okay, let's start with the foundation, the where. We're talking about Brandenburg Park in Chesterfield Township, Michigan, 15GT's Jefferson Avenue. Now, usually when we talk about parks, we think, grass and a swing set.
Yeah.
But this, looking at the data here, this feels different.
It's entirely different. You have to look at the scale. This is 17 acres of prime aquatic real estate. But more importantly, it's the location. It is situated right on the shores of Anchor Bay on Lake St. Clair.
Okay, pause there. For someone who doesn't know the hydrology of Michigan, why does Anchor Bay matter? Why isn't it just the lake?
That is a great question. If you look at Lake St. Clair as a whole, it can get rough. It's a big body of water. You get chop, you get wind. But Anchor Bay is geographically protected. It's a bay within the system. That means the water tends to be calmer, flatter, and, way more manageable.
Oh.
If you're a paddler, specifically a recreational one, that's the difference between a relaxing drift and a battle for survival.
So it's the difference between nature and, oh no, I'm going to capsize.
Precisely. And the park infrastructure really takes advantage of that water access. The standout feature here, the crown jewel they mentioned in the specs, is this 500-foot fishing pier.
500 feet is? That's massive. Yeah. That's nearly 2 football fields sticking out into the water.
It creates a totally unique vantage point. Usually at a park, you're on the land looking at the water. When you walk 500 feet out, you're surrounded by the environment. It changes the acoustics, the wind, everything. It's accessible nature.
But let's get to the thing that caught my eye immediately, the soft shore kayak launch. Now, be honest with me. Is this just marketing speak for a spot with less mud?
Yeah.
Or is this actually a piece of technology?
No, this is legitimate engineering, and it is a game changer for accessibility.
Yeah.
Think about the traditional way you get into a kayak. You put the boat on the ground, you try to straddle it, you wobble, your feet get wet and muddy.
Oh, I've been there.
Maybe you slip on a rock. It's undignified at best and, dangerous at worst.
I have definitely pulled a muscle trying to do the graceful slide into a kayak and failing miserably.
Right. A soft shore system, it often uses these specific easy launch rollers or floating docks. It stabilizes the vessel for you. It acts as a bridge between the solid land and the fluid water. It holds the kayak steady while you sit down, and then you just use the rails to pull yourself into the water. Wow.
It removes the physical barrier to entry.
So it's basically democratizes the water. You don't need to be a yoga master to get in the boat.
Exactly. It signals that this park, Brandenburg Park, isn't just allowing paddling, they are designing for it. And when you look at the rest of the amenities, that theme just continues. We see sand, volleyball, basketball, tennis, and obviously pickleball.
We legally cannot do a deep dive in 2026 without mentioning pickleball. It's everywhere.
It is the recreational barometer of our time. But don't overlook the boring stuff in the report. Paved parking, Wi-Fi, electricity, indoor restrooms.
I usually glaze over that stuff. Why do you think that's so important?
Because those are the time extenders. Think about the last time you went to a rustic beach. You stay for maybe 90 minutes. Why? Because someone needs a bathroom, or your phone dies, or you just feel sandy and gross.
Or you need to check an email and you have zero signal, so the anxiety kicks in. Exactly. When a venue like Brandenburg Park installs Wi-Fi and indoor restrooms and a splash pad for the kids, they're building an infrastructure that supports an all-day stay. You can play pickleball, cool off in the splash pad, check your email, and then head out to the pier. It transforms the park from a stopover into a destination.
Okay, so the stage is set. We have this 17-acre destination in Chesterfield, but a park is just land until you do something on it. This brings us to the main event for the 2026 season, the Motor City Paddle Club.
This is where the rubber, or I guess the plastic, meets the road. The season officially kicks off the second week of May 2026.
Mark that down, second week of May. Now, I have to talk about my own personal friction point here. I love the idea of kayaking. I have fantasies about owning a boat. But the reality, the reality is strapping a 50-pound plastic torpedo to the roof of my sedan, worrying it's going to fly off on the highway and, decapitate someone.
You are describing the ownership burden. It's the classic paradox of modern leisure gear. We want the experience, but the logistics of the equipment are actually a deterrent. It takes up garage space, it requires maintenance. Transport is a nightmare.
So how does Motor City Paddle Club solve this? Because rentals have been around forever.
They have, but it's the integration that matters here. Their value proposition is just show up and paddle. Because they're situated right at that soft shore launch we talked about. They eliminate the transport leg entirely. You aren't hauling anything. You drive your car, you park, you walk to the water, you get in.
That is the dream. And
Yeah.
looking at the fleet for 2026, they seem to have covered all the bases. They have single kayaks, obviously, but they also have tandems.
Ah, yes, the relationship testers.
The divorce boats. Look, if you can navigate a tandem kayak with your partner without screaming, "Paddle on the left," your marriage is solid.
It is a high-stakes cooperation exercise, certainly, but they're also great for a parent and a child. It allows someone who isn't strong enough to paddle alone to still be out on the water.
And then we have the stand-up paddle boards, the SUPs. I feel like this goes back to the geography point you made earlier. You can't really SUP on choppy water unless you're a pro, right?
Not comfortably, no. If the water is rough, you spend the whole time tense trying to balance. Because Anger Bay is protected, it unlocks the SUP experience for beginners. And the view from a SUP is totally different.
How so?
In a kayak, you're sitting below the waterline, essentially. On a SUP, you're standing at full height. Your angle of incidence into the water changes. You can see down into the shallows, spotting fish, seeing the bottom features. And looking back at the shore, the data mentions viewing Chesterfield from a new perspective.
I love that. Usually we're on land looking out, being on the water looking back. It makes your own town feel like a vacation spot.
It shifts your cognitive map of where you live. You stop seeing it as just roads and buildings and start seeing it as a coastline.
Okay, but here's the twist. We've got the location, we've got the boats. But for the 2026 season, Motor City Paddle Club is adding a third element. And I'm going to be honest, I think this might be the genius move.
I think I know where you're going with this. You're looking at the Motor City Paddle Dogs.
The hot dog cart. But they aren't just calling it a cart. The text calls it happiness in a bun and emphasizes premium hot dogs. Now, expert opinion here. Is this just a snack stand? Or is this actually part of the ecosystem we talked about?
Oh, it is absolutely part of the ecosystem. Think about the physiology of water sports. Even if you're just paddling casually, you are burning glycogen, you're out in the sun, you're getting splashed. When you get back to shore, you have a very specific biological craving.
Water hunger. It's
Yeah.
real. It's different than normal hunger. You want salt, you want carbs, and you want it immediately.
Exactly. If you have to pack up, get in the car, and drive 15 minutes to a drive-through, you've broken the spell of the relaxation. You've introduced friction back into the system. By placing a high-calorie comfort food option, a premium hot dog, literally steps away from where you dock the boat, they're closing the loop.
It extends the experience, right? The source paints this picture. Grab a dog, watch the boats go by, and enjoy the lake breeze.
It turns eating into a social activity. It becomes a third place. You aren't at work, you aren't at home, you're sitting by the water, eating a hot dog, watching the sunset. That is a very powerful psychological state.
And they gave it a website, www.motorcitypaddledogs.com. It feels like they're treating the hot dogs with the same seriousness as the boats.
Which implies quality. If you brand your food stand, you're staking your reputation on it. It suggests these aren't just, microwave franks. They're building a brand identity around the post-adventure meal.
I'm sold on the concept. A boat and a bun. It's simple, but it works. So let's walk our listener through the actual execution. We've convinced them this is the perfect Saturday. How do they make it happen without messing it up?
Logistics. First, remember this is a township park. Brandenburg Park has entry fees. You can buy a daily pass, but the data suggests that season passes are available at the community center on Sugarbush Road, specifically 4080-400 Sugarbush, or right at the park entry booth.
Right. And if you live in the area and you plan to go more than twice, the season pass is usually the math winner.
Absolutely. It also acts as a commitment device. If you buy the pass, you're more likely to actually go.
Now, for the rentals, we need to be specific here because there was a note about a typo in some of the source text. You want to go to the website to book.
Correct. The URL is www.motorcitypaddleclub.com. Make sure you spell club right, C-L-U-B.
Don't type L-Cub.
Yeah.
motorcitypaddleclub.com. And I know some people hate booking online. Maybe they have questions about group sizes or they want to know if the wind is too high that day. Is there a human they can talk to?
Yes, and this is a huge plus in 2026 where everything is usually a chatbot. They have a direct line, 313-765-2925.
Let me repeat that because I know people are probably driving or doing dishes. That's 313-765-2925. Put that in your phone as Paddle Club.
And again, the location is Brandenburg Park. If you just type 500-050 Jefferson Avenue, Chesterfield into your navigation, it'll take you right to the gate.
Okay, I want to zoom out for a second. We spent a lot of time on this show talking about, high-level concepts, tech trends, global shifts. But there is something grounding about this topic.
It connects to the concept of low-tech luxury.
Unpack that for me.
Well, look at where technology is going. VR headsets, the metaverse, AI-generated content. We are increasingly disconnected from the physical world. In that context, the value of tactile experiences goes up.
You mean real water, real sun, real food?
Exactly. The feeling of the paddle resistance in the water, the smell of the lake, the taste of the hot dog. You cannot simulate that. And I think what Motor City Paddle Club is offering, specifically for the 2026 season, is a return to that tactile reality, but without the hassle that used to come with it.
It's the simple life, but optimized. You don't have to be a rugged outdoorsman to enjoy it. You just have to show up.
And that's why the soft shore launch and the paddle dogs cart are so important. They are the user interface that makes the nature accessible. They remove the barriers.
I keep going back to that image of the pier. 500 feet out, sunrise, coffee, or maybe sunset and a hot dog. It feels like the kind of thing you look back on in November and say, yeah, that was a good summer.
It's memory dividends. You invest the time in May, and you get the memory dividends all winter long.
So here's our challenge to the listener. It is January 24th. It is cold. You're probably wearing a sweater. But the Motor City Paddle Club season kickoff is the second week of May. That is roughly 16 weeks away.
Which sounds like a lot, but it isn't.
It is the blink of an eye. Go to motorcitypaddleclub.com. Check out the menu at motorcitypaddledogs.com. Get the season pass at the community center. Build the architecture of your summer now so when that first warm Saturday hits, you aren't scrambling.
You'll be the one gliding past the pier while everyone else is still stuck in traffic trying to find a beach.
That is the goal. To be the one in the boat, not the one watching the boat.
With a hot dog waiting for you.
With a premium hot dog waiting for you. It really is the little things. Hey, thanks for taking this deep dive with us. I'm actually really hyped for May now.
I'm already looking at the tandem kayak availability.
Better find a partner who paddles at your pace. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll see you on the water at Brandenburg Park.
Take care.